I had grown up in East Tennessee, and then I spent about 5 years in Colorado and loved that, but wanted to get my kids back here. We kind of happened up on this little kind of hidden village and was just kind of shocked by the idea that this would be right here. I felt like I was in a reality distortion zone. The idea that there was this little ghost town and these little buildings like this. I bought this building for $35,000, which is unbelievable by today's standards. There's no telling what a building like this in Leiper's Fork would be worth. In the early 90s, through our eyes, we kind of saw this land differently as we saw little kind of the ruins of a turn-of-the-century place and some remnants of actually 100 years earlier, you know, along the old Natchez Trace. Some historians consider that to be the oldest road in America, first used by the Indians and then by the European settlers for transportation. And so we found this incredible landscape, this kind of little ghost town. We start seeing that some other artists had found it, you know, because of its beauty, because of nature, and creators tend to do better doing that. And we start comparing our notes, and a new kind of community around creative people starts to land here. There's a lot of artists from California beginning a migration here, big artists that landed right here in the store that shocked us. We got a little music thing going, and Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers lands in our town and comes and plays in this little place and wants to be part of our community. And come to find out, he was doing the same thing we were doing. He had young kids, about the same age as my kids, and was at a place where him and his wife and family just wanted to get a little farmhouse and do the same thing we were doing. And they landed here, and we kind of formed community and began to think about things we could do together, raising our kids. We had these little kids. We had a little program called Kids on Stage, and we'd get all of our kids and we put them in these little rock band formations. And they would, you know, my daughter and Michael's son and a couple of them, they were like 9, 10, 11 years old, and they'd be playing songs like the Beatles' Twist and Shout and Wild Thing. It was the cutest thing, and we were the roadies. I'm like a roadie with Michael McDonald for a little rock band. How fun was that? Then something really kind of big happened that kind of began to kind of send shockwaves through the community. As our little kind of backwater, rural kind of hidden kind of hippie ghost town with all these cool Victorian buildings in it that we were painting up different colors, you know, raising our kids and just having a good time out here. We got news that they were planning something called Interstate 840. And we had never thought about interstates being built, whether I liked them or didn't like them, and people began bringing it to our attention that may really change our life and change the character of the community in this little backwater that was able to kind of preserve its buildings and its landscape, which equaled this quality of life that we're used to, might be potentially be under the threat of becoming one big suburban area like many of us had moved away from. We saw that they were planning to build it up on the top of a historic watershed called the Tennessee Valley Divide, or the Duck River Ridge, which at one point had been the edge of the United States, the natural edge to the Chickasaw boundary and the edge of the United States, and they actually had not done the proper environmental work. They were going to put the road right up on top of that watershed, which has all of these super fantastic headwater streams coming out of it that are coming down to our valley, and that they were literally going to plow the top off of that, which would put all the mud in all the streams, and that they hadn't done proper environmental work. So anyway, we rolled up our sleeves and learned a lot about kind of government fighting a little bit, and it was beyond a David and Goliath story, you know. And we ended up, after many years prevailing, asking them to remove the exit off of that loop and also to do it properly environmentally. And they ended up getting the road through eventually, and we preserved our community that way. And that a lot of people may not realize, that was probably the single biggest item that allowed our community to be preserved in perpetuity, as the fancy word goes. That shocked us enough that we began to really dig in on what we were going to do to be proactive and not wait for development to come. I have a background in real estate, commercial real estate, and I had the idea that, well, you know, maybe what I can uniquely do is start kind of a land preservation movement. Kind of like people will pick up dogs on the side of the road and spay them or neuter them and find a home for them. I thought, well, I know enough about real estate. What if I either directed when a farmer wants to sell a property, what if I proactively found a conservation-minded buyer that wouldn't turn it into a subdivision? If I proactively did that, that might make a difference. And then I started thinking, well, what if I went ahead and bought the property and then I restricted it in some way, and then maybe I could sell it, pick the family. And so I began doing that, and I assembled about 2,100 acres of land, and that's when we began to move forward on purchasing 7 of the 8 businesses in town between us and friends. And I ended up with about 13 of the maybe 50 houses there in the village. And then we began to kind of find buyers for those that would build our kind of arts and preservation movement and ensure the sustainability of our quality of life. And you know, as we learned about it, the more we learned, then the kind of more excited we became about, well, while we're at it, let's really do it right. Let's learn more about this. Somebody brought us the idea of something called a land trust, where we could actually put what they call conservation easements on our property voluntarily, that voluntarily restrict our use of the property, and that easement runs with the property when we're gone. And this third party called a land trust would enforce that if anybody wanted to develop it. Land Trust for Tennessee, using us as an example for other communities, now has expanded all the way statewide. I think they protect over 450 family farms. I think 140,000 acres are protected. These are important historic view sheds, important natural habitats, and sometimes property that surrounds historic property where the view shed is important. Our little work of this little group of community in the community has expanded to lead the land trust movement and to kind of be a model for placemaking, for kind of retooling our village so that it's a win-win, that our stores are open. We have some restaurants and art galleries and different kinds of things that support employment. They're kind of a win-win that we invite the public to come and not run over our community, but share our community. You know, when people get off an airplane, they don't want to go just to the industrial complex tourism things. They get off the plane and say, where do the locals go? Where do the locals eat? That's what we want to be, is that, you know, hopefully we're like one of the first things that people would say if they land in Nashville and they ask somebody at the airport where the locals go. We would hope they say Leiper's Fork. We think if they come to Leiper's Fork, we'll be able to meet that need and that desire. With our little place at Fox Locke, we go out of our way to have a really, really nurturing stage, a real professional stage. You walk in at the front door and the stage is right there. You're like backstage when you walk in there. It's the most opposite of a good design for a music venue of anything you'd ever see, but it really works well. You know, the stage is sitting there and artists from, you know, Carrie Underwood, I mean, the list goes on and on of people that will come at any time and be on that stage, mixing in with the kids that are coming up and the teenagers and the 20-somethings. This just happens to be a place where they all come from all these different sides, and if you're quiet and well behaved, you will see all kinds of amazing things, and occasionally you will see one-of-a-kind occurrences where it all lines up. It's the right night. You'll see collaborations that you'd never see out on the road, where people just land and show up and they jump up on the stage spontaneously, and probably their producers and managers would never allow it, but they just show up and they land, and you happen to be there and you see that magic happen. And for those of us that are real music junkies, and I am one, we can't stop watching that. We love it. We live for those moments. I mean, the music is consistently not good, it's great. But every now and then, something happens that doesn't get captured but when it happens, everybody that saw it remembers it. Music here, it's a little hard to describe because it basically comes in from everywhere. It comes from the highest levels of the music business, and it's almost like it comes out of the ground. You have kids that are raised in the neighborhood, people like Miley Cyrus or Kesha or Hayley Williams of Paramore. She landed here. Her parents, her grandparents, they all moved here. This 11-year-old kid was so gifted that they just packed up from Laurel, Mississippi in what would appear to be a totally irrational decision and bet the farm, bet everything on supporting her at 11 years old. Of course, you see them come. You want to support those kind of people. They're all, and you know how vulnerable they are, and some of them make it. As the old saying goes, you got to raise a lot of watermelons to get a big one. So we see a lot of them grow here. Occasionally one breaks through. A lot have broken through from here that are literally either they're grown out of the ground here or they come in and they're nurtured here. I hope when a visitor leaves here, they leave with a feeling. Often we hear people say that they leave and it kind of gets in their head. It probably gets in their heart too. They can't figure out exactly what it is, but they have to come back. And even though we're not a place that, you're not going to come here and see, the Statue of Liberty or the Grand Ole Opry or whatever, hopefully you walk away and you have a feeling that kind of haunts you, I hope.